What's up, what's good, what's poppin'? It is your girl Kelly. I'm here with another video today. This is definitely a new setup. I'm at home. This video is going to be very different than the normal type of videos. Let me see if I can kind of change the angle. Okay, yeah. This video is going to be a little different than the normal videos that I make and that I upload. This is kind of like a look into my life. Before we get started, if you are new here, welcome first. If you are new here, if you are oldie, my goodie, my alumni, what's up, what's good, what's poppin'? This video is very, very different than the normal videos that I post. This video is a very vulnerable video. Y'all know I'm very raw and open on my channel. So a lot of my stuff is slightly edited, uncut. But this video just basically, and it is a trigger warning. So I do want to let y'all know, it can be a trigger warning for some people. It has a lot to do with childhood, neglect, abuse, drugs, things of that nature and everything. So if you are a little bit sensitive to that, I just want to let y'all know that it's going to be some talk about that. So I just want to start off by saying I'm making this video, because I'm not going to say I'm an open book, but I do feel like it's a lot of people in the world that goes through things and they are scared to talk about it because they feel like they won't be heard, or they're probably the only person that's going through this. So, I had to get out of that. I had to step out of my comfort zone when it came to situations like that and just understand that I'm not the only person that is going through things. So, with that being said, I have a daughter. She's 16 years old. And I had her when I was 21 years old. And we are going through some trials and tribulations right now. And it just kind of took me back to my childhood and some of the things that my mom used to say. So, starting off, I am 38 years old. I will be 39 September 25th, so I have a birthday coming up. And I didn't have nowhere near the normal childhood. I dealt with a lot of things. My mom was an addict. I was homeless for majority of my childhood. I went from house to house. I never really knew what a birthday was, what a Christmas was, what anything really was, unless I was with someone in their family. So today, for the last few days, me and my daughter has been going through a lot. And with us going through a lot, today, it kind of like, it hit the fan a couple days ago, but today it really hit home because as I was talking and I was looking at her, I saw me and wishing that some of the things that we were talking about and that she did express, which did come off as disrespectful, but I wish that I had the courage to express to my mom growing up. And then I also looked at her in my mom's eyes with some of the things that I said to her and that I said out my mouth that I remember my mom telling me when she did eventually get clean, that I never thought that I would see in my life. I am the youngest of three. I have a sister and I have two older brothers. I am the baby of the family. So a lot of stuff that I dealt with on my own. They were big, they were grown. Like my sister, she's 11 years older than me. My brother, my youngest brother, who's also older than me, he is 10 years older than me, 9 or 10 years older than me. And then my oldest brother, he is 13 years older than me. So I was literally like the baby. I used to always make jokes with my mama and say like, oh, I was a mistake, because like you had me like so many years ago. And my dad, who also passed away when I was 7 years old, he was also older as well. So we're just gonna go ahead and take a step back. When I was young, when I can't really remember too much when I was like a baby, but I do remember when I was young enough to remember when my dad was here. I do remember me and my dad having a very, very good relationship. I do remember all of the happy times, all of the McDonald's he used to get me, how he always took me, and we did things together. And I am also close to my dad's side of the family, and he died when I was 7 years old, and it's like when he passed away, my entire life just changed. I also want y'all to know, I'm sorry, I might get a little emotional, but I'm gonna keep going because this is the first time I'm actually doing this and actually speaking out. I don't know how many people are gonna see this video, but if you do, I'm being very, very vulnerable right now. Yeah, he passed away when I was 7 years old, and after he passed away, it's like my life just did like a complete 360. When he was here, I was a princess. I got everything that I wanted. I didn't want for anything. I do remember that because I remember us going to the store. I remember him sitting up and reading to me. I remember having a happy childhood, jumping rope in front of the house, going down to the candy store. I remember doing family things, having fish fries, having cookouts, having family reunions. And when he passed away, I didn't have that. So from the age of 7 all the way up to leading into adulthood, I was pretty much on my own. I had my mom, but my mom always struggled with addiction before me. My brothers and sisters had to deal with it. She had to, so she had like, I don't want to tell their story, that's their story to tell, but I do know that they had to deal with a lot of things with my mom. And they just, my brother went to the Navy, my sister grew up, my other brother at the time, he's a stand-up guy now, but now at first he was all over the place, went into the streets, tried to seek, love and validation, from the streets or whatever. So, yeah, so she struggled with addiction, like, forever. She had to get clean when she had me because of the court or whatever, because what she went through with my brothers and sisters, and it was mandatory that she had to get clean. I'm sorry, somebody decided to mow the lawn right now. But, when my daddy passed away, my mom ended up having to get me because I stayed with my daddy and my granny majority of the time. When my mom got me, I didn't know really how my life was going to turn out or how my life was going to end up because, like I said, I was young and I was kind of blind to the fact. He kind of kept that side of my mom away from me when he was alive until she came and got me. And it's like my life just did like a complete 360. I was in and out of shelters. We were homeless. I think she came and got me, and we didn't even move into a house. We went and we moved into a shelter. I ended up getting Social Security from my dad, and I barely saw any of this money. And just another disclaimer, y'all, I'm sorry. This video is in no shape, form, or fashion to bash my mom because I love my mama very, very much. I love her even more today, even though she's not walking this earth. This is just me telling my story, and I'm gonna lead up to why I'm telling my story and why I'm starting off here. So anyway, moving forward, we was in and out of shelters. We was homeless, like not homeless as in, we stayed with family members, because we did that too, but I mean homeless to the point that we slept on trains, we slept on buses, we slept on park benches, we slept, if you from Chicago, up north under the viaduct. We went to multiple shelters. We did everything. I stayed in halfway houses. And I used to just always try to figure out, like, why is it that I had to go through this? I was very depressed as a child, also as a teenager. I was in school. I stayed in school. My mom was very smart. So one thing I did was stayed in school. And I remember just thinking a lot of times as a child, like, why do I gotta go through this? You know, like, I didn't ask to be here. Like, I didn't ask to be on this earth. Like, why have a child if you can't take care of your child, or if you're not going to be able to provide for your child? And I just never understood it because I was around people and I saw how they got treated. So as time progressed, I don't really know the age ranges, so I'm not really gonna shoot ages out. I'm gonna just, like, just keep going with it, and once I figure it out, I'm gonna let y'all know the ages. But I do remember, not so much in before 6th grade, but after 6th grade, we lived up north. We lived up north in Uptown. I went to Jonah FRI. It is now called Uplift. In that school, I met a lot of people, and I met a lot of friends. And during that time, the friends that I met, I would become friends with them. And because my mom, we were homeless, and we stayed in the shelter in the church that's on the corner, across the street from McDonald's, that is still there. I didn't want to stay there, so I met friends, and I went home with them, and, I talked to their mom, and I was always a charming little girl. So, their mom always like, oh, it's okay for her to spend the night, and by the grace of God, I was always in a safe environment when it came to friends. I still have friends right now today that I see on social media, and I do their hair, and we done had really deep conversations like, man, Kelly, I'm happy you turned out the way that you turned out, because for a little bit of time, I didn't know who I was going to be. I didn't know if I was going to be dead. I didn't know if I was going to be successful. I didn't know what was going to happen in my life. Like, literally, I didn't know. But I do know when I was smaller, like before I think was it around 6th grade? I can't really remember, but I know that we stayed in the Attaby Wells, and my mom, she used to sell, and for the people, for the guys that was around the community and everything, and I guess that was her way of, like, paying back her debt or whatever it was that she had to do. And we used to have to sit outside, no matter if it was raining, no matter if it was snowing, no matter what. We'd have to sit outside in front of this building, and it was this girl. I'm not gonna drop nobody's names, but it was this girl. She used to always come in and out of the building, and one day, I was sitting down there with my mom, and I had to sit in the hallway because I think it was cold outside. Her mom was coming into the building, and she asked me, did I want to come upstairs? Hold on. Okay, sorry. She asked me if I wanted to come upstairs, and did I want to come and play with her? Her mama was about to cook, and I was like, yeah. So her mom was very, very nice, a very warm, woman. She had a son also, and they was coming in the building with their little shopper cart, probably coming from either the grocery store or the laundromat. They was coming from somewhere, I can't really remember. So I went upstairs, I ate, I played with her for a little while. When it was time for us to leave, I came back down and went with my mom. We went to the house that we were staying at, which was another young lady that stayed in the projects, who had a baby, the baby was disabled. She allowed us to stay with her, and so from that time, I started frequently going to the building with my mom and playing with the girl and coming up to her house, until one day, her mom was like, pretty much saw my story, and so much told my mom, like, I would help you with her. Like, I would help you. I would take care of her. I would take her in. So her mom ended up taking me in, and that somewhat gave me the feel of a normal childhood. And when I say she took me in, she didn't just take me in for like months. She literally got me through my entire grammar school life. Even with me being rebellious, even with me running away, even with me, like, she dealt with literally, like, everything that came with me. Like, I was her own child. From buying me birthday gifts to taking me on family trips, to me going to family reunions, and her whole entire family taking me in. Like, even right now, today, they take me like I'm their family, regardless of how much I come around or how much I show up, or no matter what. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, I am very close with my daddy's side of the family, but my life just has been so all over the place. It's kind of like I kind of lived my life as a gypsy because I never really knew what stability was, because even in the midst of this nice lady taking care of me, I still had times that my mom would come over there and she would be lifted and, you know, show out, act crazy, take me, and then come, oh, I got this and I got that, and here I am, a little girl, because I'm still craving my mom, believing the things, you know, that she said to me. I had no choice because I was terrified of my mom. You know, if y'all watching this and you know my mama, then you understand. I was very terrified of her, so I did whatever it was she told me to do. So as time continues to progress, like I said, I met friends. I stayed in school. The nice lady that took me in, she made sure I got to school. You know, she made sure I did things, and because I still was craving my mom and I was still craving that attention, I sometimes would leave her house, go down there and try to find my mama. You know, just try to rekindle. That wouldn't work. You know, it was just kind of like always a back and forth, push and pull type of thing. So I started fending for myself, you know, in life. Like, I had no other choice but to fend for myself. My sister, she even took me in at times. My brother, who, like I said, he left and went to the military, he tried to take me in. My mom had a fit because, like I told y'all, my daddy was getting Social Security and I was still young, and I was receiving that Social Security, and she was my payee. So with her being an addict, she depended on that money a lot of the times to get her through, you know. Now, would she give me a little tools and fuse? Yeah, she'd give me tools and fuse, but it wasn't what I should have had, you know. It was enough to take care of me, and because she had to still take care of herself, she gave me this and that, you know. And I just had to be happy with whatever it was that I had or whatever. So I'm gonna like kind of fast forward. We had some really good times, and within those good times, I remember the times when she did sacrifice and when she did play the lottery and got money, and, you know, and we did things together. I truly believe that my mom wanted to be a good mama to me, but because of what she was going through, and at that time it was really, really bad, she couldn't. And I remember her a lot of times, like during her addiction, telling me that saying sorry. She always say, oh, because she used to call me Muda. I remember a lot of times her telling me that she was sorry. And when I was young, you know, I probably was eating some ice cream or eating some cookies or cake or whatever it was that she gave me at the time, and she would stare at me, and she was an artist. My mom used to take me to the park and draw portraits of me. She always reminded me of how beautiful I am and how my life is going to... Hold on. So yeah, she used to always draw portraits of me and always remind me of how beautiful I am and how my life is going to turn out, and how this is just the tip of the iceberg, you know, and she know I don't deserve this. And, you know, I understood, but at that time, like I said, I was a kid, so I was just occupied. But I remember those conversations. Like, I remember them, and I remember them even vividly now because it really correlates into my life now. So yeah, she used to draw me. We used to go ice skating when it was like skate on state. We used to eat at this restaurant. It was a breakfast spot. It was called the Ferris Wheel, that was downtown on State Street. We used to also go to this other little cafe that we always used to have breakfast at. She played the lottery a lot. She used to be in the store for hours and hours and hours and hours playing the lottery. And every time she won the lottery, it'll always be for certain specific numbers. And she'll make sure that she bought me something before she went and did whatever it was that she had to do, because I was the only one with her. It was just me and her. And I remember her a lot of times, like when she used to be sick, or because she couldn't get what she needed to get, or when she would be lifted and she would be happy, she always used to tell me, it's me and you against the world. And, you know, I used to like when she said that because even though I didn't have the ideal childhood or the ideal mom, I still loved my mom. She always told me how much she loved me. She never talked down on me. She always gave me words of affirmation. And I really appreciated that. So I'm gonna like jump into her. She ended up going to jail. My life continued to go. I still was here and there and everywhere. During that time, so I'm finna like go all the way up. So during that time, I ended up having a baby. But I remember when I was younger, like I used to be, I wasn't like young, but I was like a teenager, probably like 18, 19, 17, 18. Like, oh, I want to have a baby because I want somebody to love me unconditionally because things that I endured with my mom, I didn't feel loved. I didn't want to be here. I tried to commit suicide multiple times during my childhood because I just couldn't fathom life, and I didn't understand why I was going through the things that I was going through. So by the time I turned 21, I ended up having a baby, and I had a baby girl. And then once I had her or whatever, like me and her father, we was cool. He was also in the military. Things just didn't work out how we thought they would. His mom, my mom at the time was like, y'all don't need to have babies. Like I said, she went to jail. She ended up getting out. She ended up getting clean. Woo, woo. So as I started getting older or whatever, I started like just really resenting her. Like, I just resented her. But I know that I resented her because I'm like, I remember one day we had an argument, and I was like, why you never told me that you was sorry? Like, but see, I'm not remembering at the time how I just told you how she used to always tell me she was sorry for what she did and what she had me going through at the time. So I was like, why you never told me that you was sorry? Like, you sitting here and you acting like everything is okay, because like she came back around after being locked up and come back around like nothing happened. But I'm still hurting, I'm still hurting. Like, I'm still dealing with stuff. I'm still dealing with trauma. I'm like, it's things that happen to me out here in this world that you don't even know. You didn't even ask, and boo. And like, I'm just going off. I remember we were staying with my cousin, and I gave my cousin an ultimatum. Like, it's either me or my mama. I can't stay here with her. Like, all going off or whatever. And because my cousin knew my story, she didn't put my mom out, but she did end up helping my mom get into an independent living place. Because my mom was a senior citizen at this time. I think she was like just making a senior citizen at the time or whatever. So she ended up leaving or whatever. Like I said, at this time I got my daughter. Me and her father's not together no more. So I'm just raising my daughter the best way that I can or whatever. He'll come through, help every so often or whatever. But whatever, this story isn't about him either. But it came to a point where she took my daughter in for me. I did have my own place. Every time at that time I had I was getting my own apartments. I think my baby was like, when she decided to take my daughter in, I believe she was probably like 5 or 6 years old. And like I said, because I resented her so much, and I'm still on the whim trying to figure out how to be a parent, I'm like, yeah, well, that's the least you could do. You know what I'm saying? You could take your granddaughter in, you can help me with your granddaughter, that's the least you could do. You ain't do nothing for me. Well, like, that's how I was. Like, I was feisty, baby. When I say feisty, I was feisty. I still did for my daughter, of course, but it was just more so materialistic things, like, or me dropping off money, or me doing, stuff like that. Like, it was never just me being 100% parent. I always made sure she had the best birthdays, the best gifts, the best everything. But that was just me being materialistic because I know what I didn't receive when I was young and what I craved. So I'm just like, maybe that's what she wants. I'm gonna give her what I know that I didn't have. So to get to the point of me having this whole video, my daughter is now 16 years old. When my daughter started suffering with depression when she was about 12. She dealt with a lot of bullying when she was in school. My daughter was always very smart. She wore glasses. Always a pretty girl. But she always dealt with like bullying and everything like that. I never really knew what to do. Like, I never knew what to do with her. And at those times I used to ask my mom, like, Mama, what do I do or whatever? So, when my mama passed away, okay, let me go back. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna go back. So, when I told her, like, why you didn't tell me she was sorry, she looked at me and she said, I don't have to tell you I'm sorry. And when she told me that, oh, honey, my heart broke into pieces. I said, what? You don't got to tell me you sorry. What you mean you ain't got to tell me you sorry? Yes, you do. You need to be sorry because you did woo, woo, woo. And she like, Kelly, I don't have to tell you that I'm sorry. I forgave myself. God forgave me. And I'm going to continue to move forward with my life. Any feelings that you have towards me when I was sick, baby, you got to take that up with God. So I was so mad when she said that. Oh, y'all, I was so mad. I was so mad. But right now, today, I understand her saying that. Because now when I talk to my daughter was never homeless. She never went without. She don't even know what struggle is. But it was things that I did. It was generational curses that trickled down. One, being an active parent. 2, showing up when I needed to. 3, and just being there when I needed to be there. I didn't care about nothing but what I had going on in life. I wasn't on drugs or anything like that, but I was young, wild, and free. Let's just say that. So I had shortcomings as a parent. When my mama passed away, I was so hurt. I was so hurt because right before she died, me and her like started to rekindle our relationship and rekindle our mother and daughter relationship. And I was so happy about that. Like, I'm like, oh man, we finally finna be able to, you know, come together as one and be a mama and a daughter, you know. One day she always went to doctor's appointments. And this one particular day, she said she was sick for a while. I had Kylie with me. She was like, I'm finna go to a doctor's appointment. I'll call you when I get back. She took the bus. No, she took her little pace thing because she stayed, like I said, in an independent living building. She took her little pace thing to the hospital. So me not thinking that I'm never gonna see her outside the hospital again. I'm like, okay, Mom. I think I told her like I was gonna take her to Olive Garden or something when she got out because she loved Olive Garden. Well, come to find out, I never got a chance to take her to Olive Garden. When she went to the hospital, she never came out. I believe my mom always knew that she had cancer because when she got to the hospital and we found out, she was in stage 4. No chemo could do nothing. No radiation could do nothing. No medicine could do nothing. Everything was more so of, boom, we here. Now we just got to keep you comfortable. I'm like, what? So I'm like, she got cancer. Where did cancer come from? How does she have cancer? So now it's so many unanswered questions. I believe my older brother knew that she had cancer, but they was thick as thieves. So if she told him don't tell, baby, he ain't gonna tell. So she never got out the hospital. And I just used to sit there and I used to look at her because we used to go up there and see her take turns. My bad, y'all. My phone had ran out of storage. I have to delete some stuff. So, I can't remember where I left off at. But, like I said, I was devastated. We all had to sit up there and talk to her and, you know, talk to her and sit up there because, like, she started forgetting things. It was kind of like she had dementia or something. Like, I don't know what was going on. But it was like she started forgetting stuff. And it was just terrible. Like, it was literally terrible. So, moving forward, she passed away and everything. So like I said, now at this point in my life, I have no other choice but to be a mom. I'm forced to be a full-time mom. Y'all, when I say I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know what I was doing, okay? I did not know what I was doing. I was literally winging it. I did not know what I was doing. So time, kept on going or whatever, and I was catching on and everything. And me and my daughter was connected, but we wasn't connected probably how we should have been connected. Her other grandma on her dad's side played a really, really big role in her life, and I love her very, very much for that. And I still had her. I still have them right now today by the grace of God. I love Granny. But I still have her right now today, but she really helped me, but she didn't pick up the slack. I still had things that I had to do, I'm sure, and it was still ways of parenting that I'm sure that she didn't like. So as time continued to progress or whatever, like, Granny did end up helping me because I was like up to here, like I don't know what to do. So Granny left, so Granny ended up taking Kylie in for a little while. At that time, Kylie was in like 6th, 7th grade. She was in 7th grade. 6th grade. 7th grade. She was in 7th grade when she took Kylie in. I was so busy running the street, and like I said, I'm being so vulnerable. Like, I was still busy running the street, still busy doing what I wanted to do, still busy living my life. I saw my daughter, I went out with my daughter, I took her out to eat, I did all those little things or whatever that I needed to do, but it wasn't enough. Like, I should have been a mom. I should have been there. So during all this time, my daughter, her trauma is just building and building and building and building. And Kylie was always very quiet. She never really expressed herself. I remember times I'd be like, just open up your mouth. Just express yourself. Just tell me what you feeling. Like, tell me what you going through. Like, tell me what you thinking. Talk. Because she'd just sit there and she'd just cry. Like, she would never express herself. And I remember times going out and I had my daughter. She had just, like, when I leave, she act like it was the end of the world, but not me thinking that she's missing me. It's those times she's scared that I'm going to leave and never come back. Not like I ever did it, but in her little mind, she's scared. Like, all I want is my mom, Her dad lived in California and he was still in the military and everything, so she didn't really spend a lot of time with him either. So at this point, she was just all over the place. So, she was living with her grandma. She was like being rebellious, getting in trouble. Not getting in trouble in school, but just doing little things to get in trouble. But I think it was more so to get my attention. So she got in trouble or whatever, and I was like I said, I was raised hard. Like, my mom, she babied me, but she didn't baby me. Like, she used to whoop that. Okay. So that's what I knew. I don't beat my child. I never beat her or anything like that. But I believed in disciplining. I believe in being structured. I remember in do this, do that, or it's trouble for you. So that's what was always in my mind or whatever. And it was at times that she needed to just talk and just needed a mom versus a disciplinarian. So when her grandma and stuff would call me and tell me things that she did, it was just like, just ridicule her, get down on her, discipline her and everything like that. So this one particular time, she got in trouble in school. She kind of pushed the little crossing guard lady that was taking her home and everything. So I'm not knowing that she's battling with the things that she was battling with. I came over like, oh, I'm going to get you, Kylie. You in trouble. Da-da-da-da. Like, I'm going to get you. And everything blew up. It got into a really, really, really big altercation or whatever. She ended up going out there with her daddy. And he lived in Michigan at the time. So she ended up going out there with her daddy. She ended up getting enrolled in school and everything out there. Me and her didn't talk for a little while. So at this point, I'm crying. I'm devastated. Now I'm like, it's me. I ran my daughter away. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it's me. And, yeah, she stayed out there. So she was done with her 7th year. She stayed out there in the whole duration of her 8th grade year. When she graduated, she came back home. So things was going good at home or whatever. Now I'm feeling like now I'm coming into these days because, like I said, I'm trying to skip. It's kind of like not make it so long, but I'm coming into these days, and everything that I just said, even going backwards, talking about my childhood. Me and her is like really dealing with something right now. We're in a season of our relationship where she's a teenager, for one. She's a growing girl. I'm dealing with that. She's trying to find her way. And it's like I'm pretty much in a stable environment and in a stable place of my life to know that I grew so much as a parent. And it's a lot of things that my baby don't know that I went through that correlates into her. I try to always make sure that I'm there for her, that, pour into her, give her words of affirmation, remind her of who she is, because I remember the things that she went through, when she was younger, and I don't ever want to feel that again. Now she's up, she's live, she's vibrant, she got friends, she's popular, she's prettier, she's growing into her looks, and, she's into all these things. But in the midst of her getting in trouble these past few days, I really understand, like, it is so hard being a parent. And I also remember when me and her had a situation and she opened up to me about how she felt during those times. She said she felt abandoned. Like, I was shocked when she used that word, because I'm like, I didn't abandon you. I was there. I showed up. I bought you things, But to her, you didn't show up in the ways that I needed you to show up, so you abandoned me. I mean, I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I can't take those feelings away from you, but you abandoned me. You didn't show up, Mom. So yeah, there's that. So for the past few days, it's just been like constant, like arguing, constant going back and forth and everything. So today I really have to open up and like have a conversation with her this morning. And I'm like, I need to make a video, because I never thought in a million years that I found myself telling my daughter too, like, I expressed to you before how I felt. I told you before how sorry I was in the midst of the things that I was going through. And like, I'm not going to be devalued now as a mom, because I know where I came from. I pray, I asked God to forgive me. I forgave myself. And now can't nobody walking this earth tell me that I'm not a good mother. But I remember it just took me back to the times when I felt so bad, or I was so mad that my mama just couldn't give me a simple I'm sorry, instead of realizing like she'd been telling you she was sorry. But now she's at this point in life, like, I asked God to forgive me. I told you I was sorry before. And basically I told my daughter the same thing. Like, if you are still mad or you still feel those hurtful things, I'm sorry you feel those things. I do love you. I know that I love you. I show up and show you that I love you. But if you're still dealing with that, I said that is something that, you really probably, you have to really look deep inside yourself and figure out what it is, Like, I'm like, just because I holler at you, or just because I fuss at you, or just because you get in trouble and can't do the things you want to do, does not mean that I don't love you. Just because I tell you no, or just because I tell you you're on punishment, does not mean that I don't love you. That is me being a parent. Just because I tell you I'm scared for you to do these things, or don't want you to go in these certain areas, or don't want you doing this, that doesn't mean I don't love you. That means that I'm just looking out for you. And like, I always tell her, like, I'm like, Kylie, I only got one of you. You're my only daughter. If something happens to you, what I'm going to do? I only have one. I don't have no backup plan. Not saying kids are backup plans, but, So my mom used to always tell me that, like, you gonna see when you get older, you have your own kids. And I was like, I'm not gonna treat my child the way that you treat me. I'm not gonna do my child the way that you do this. And sometimes us as parents, like, we don't realize what it is that we sending our kids through until our kids probably get old enough to tell us, or when our kids get grown and probably get their own kids, and y'all sitting around having these conversations. And although it may be funny at the time, when you sit back and listen, you be like, man, I did that? I made you feel like that? I never knew that. And we think that we doing right, and we think that we doing the best that we can, when in these babies' eyes sometimes it's always a little bit more that you can do. And although sometimes we do the best that we can, and this is all I got right now in me, they don't know that. And although I still believe in disciplining and my daughter for the things that she did and got her on punishment, oh baby, she's still on punishment right now today. So if you're watching this, honey, you're still on punishment. And mama love you. But you know, you still have to be stern and put your feet down. But it is okay with having healthy communication. And that's what I have to tell her. Just because you think it does not mean it has to come out your mouth. Because a lot of things that you think as a child coming out to an adult and your parents is disrespectful. So I put that out there too. And I had to tell her, baby, it is so much more to life than getting hollered at because you don't clean up behind yourself. I said, I'm trying to set you up for your future, for the world, because the world is a scary place. And just because I holler and fuss and scream and do all that, I said, baby, that is just the tip of the iceberg. I said, that's coming from somebody who loves you. Imagine it coming from somebody who don't. But just saying all that to say, I now could say that I understand every single time that my mama had to sacrifice things for me that I didn't understand, that I held against her, and that I felt like she was the worst person in the world. I understand that now because I'm dealing with it. I understand those nights of you crying and you telling me that I just don't understand, and me feeling like I'm just so grown and big in bed. And I do understand, but I didn't understand at the time, because if I did, I wouldn't understand it so much now. And sometimes as parents, we have to do things that we are not proud of. We have to do things that sometimes will haunt us for the rest of our lives, for the benefits of our kids. And we might not be able to tell our kids everything that we did for them. And sometimes we have to be okay with them hating us for certain parts of our life, because I would never tell you what I had to do to get you where you are today. It's just so much. And I'm still growing and I'm still learning. I'm still learning, just like a lot of other people are still growing and still learning. And there's still so many other things that I had happen to me in my life that I don't speak about, or that I don't wish to speak about, or it may come out later, because I never knew I was going to make this video. Maybe I'll make a whole in my life video one day and actually create a timeline to be able to tell y'all everything that happened, because I could write a book. Honestly. And that's why I'm proud of the person that I am today, regardless of what it is that I go through or what it is that I do. And that's why I try to be so raw and uncut, because nobody's perfect. And people look at me and people dislike me or think that I think I'm all that. I am all that, because I made it through some of the storms that y'all wouldn't even be able to hold an umbrella to, honey. I walked in the valley of the shadow of death at a young age, and I made it out. And I love that for me. And I love who I'm becoming. And I love my child. And I actually love my life. And it took me a long time to get here, even through everything that's going on, because right now, as me making this video, me and my daughter is in active battle mode. But I felt like I needed to come on here and just express this, and express my gratitude to my mom, who is no longer here. That I'm sorry it took me so long to understand. And I'm sorry that it took for you to be in the grave, for me to see you. And I see you through me. And it took a while, but I get it. I get it now. And I just want to say thank you for everything that you did instill in me. And I appreciate everything. And to my daughter, who I know is going to watch this video, I love you from the bottom of my heart to the soles of my feet. You are a product of me. And I'm not perfect. And yes, I got a temper. But that does not take away from how much I love you and how much I want to see you grow and how much I want to see you do better than me. Which is why I'm so hard on you. I don't live my life through you. I want you to live your own life. But with you living your own life, there are still things that I can help you with because I've been there and I've done that. But this is the end of this video. For everybody who watched it, I know it's pretty long. I just want to say I love y'all and thank y'all so much. And this is just a step into my life. I don't know if I ever make a video like this again. I just felt vulnerable and I felt like I had to say it. So for those of you who watched it all the way through, I love y'all so much. And if there's anything that anybody is battling with, it's going to be okay. And if you want to talk to me or inbox me or whatever, you can. I'm going to leave my socials in my description box and also my email. I love y'all, and until next time.